And my guess is that the most likely thing they're going to do is try to hijack the Trump presidency with a fake Trump and a fake agenda that will sort of mollify popular demand for justice while avoiding really, hurting the child torturers. So the scenario we need to watch out for is they use a fake Trump, and they have already put in some hardcore Zionists into the cabinet to start their long-planned World War III. We are dealing with a group of people who have been literally running this planet for thousands of years, and they're not planning to go quietly into the night, and they should not be underestimated. And we have been warned that they're planning a very major counterattack. And my guess is that the most likely thing they're going to do is try to hijack the Trump presidency with a fake Trump and a fake agenda that will sort of mollify popular demand for justice while avoiding really, hurting the child torturers. Now, the thing that worries me, the sign of this came when Elon Musk, who likes to appear on X dressed as Satan, posted a picture of himself with the Trump family. And the Trump that was appearing in that picture is shorter than Donald Trump Jr., who's 6'1". So we know it's a fake Trump. So the scenario we need to watch out for is they use a fake Trump, and they have already put in some hardcore Zionists into the cabinet to start their long-planned World War III. So this is the scenario we need to avoid. And Elon Musk, I've been warned, is making a power grab. I've been told this by MI6. So he wants to run the Trump presidency. So basically, what we had before is we had Bill Gates, who owns the WHO, trying to use the pandemic treaty to start a world fascist government. Now we have Elon Musk, who's making his own big push. And, the jury is still out there. However, despite all this, I know the white hats are fighting and they're on the case, and there's plenty of good news from the Trump side. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been appointed in charge of Health and Human Services. That means that he's got a carte blanche to go after the people who've poisoned our medical system and our food supply and everything else. So hopefully the toxins that we're being exposed to and the deadly vaccines will be removed from the system. So that's a very good sign. Now, the other one is Mark Gaetz is the Attorney General. So let's see if he goes after the child torturers, which is what he really needs to do. But nonetheless, that is also a good sign as far as I can tell. Now, the other thing that's happening is behind the scenes, there are high-level negotiations taking place. There's still, and we're verifying the existence of large amounts of gold to back up a future planning agency. This involves people getting in airplanes, flying over, stuff like that. So don't expect anything right away, but some very serious high-level people are moving, and things are going in a good direction that way. Now, there are many other signs that something is going to happen sooner than January 20th. We've been told by the CIA that they're now activating the Brunson lawsuit at the Supreme Court. And the aim of that is to use the Brunson case to invalidate the 2020 election. That means that the Trump team could seize power immediately and not wait and give the cabal a chance to do whatever between now and January 20th, which you can be sure they're planning to do. Above all, try to start World War III, with an attack on Iran. So this is a good sign. And also the fact that Trump is insisting that he be allowed to appoint his cabinet members now and not wait until January 20th is another good sign. So we'll see. The jury is still out, but it's also clear that things are happening elsewhere in the world. In Japan, the prime minister has been reelected with a minority, and basically they're just waiting to get orders from the new regime in the United States. And I'm using back channels to try to make sure that Japan gets the right message and the right people are put in charge. We'll see what happens there. But certain names have been put forward, and hopefully this will be good for Japan and for the rest of the world. But that's still pending. In Europe, of course, a whole bunch of governments are falling or about to fall. But more importantly is that even if you have a figurehead like Scholz running Germany, and the reality is that things have changed. Germany has shut their borders now, so has the Netherlands. It basically means the whole immigration policy, which is similar to the one in the United States, is being stopped. And everybody is now sucking up to Viktor Orban of Hungary. So, and he's of course very friendly with Trump. So that's a sign that regime change has taken place in Europe. Now, getting back to Elon Musk, the jury's still out on him. I noticed he's posted tweets again about eliminating the Federal Reserve Board, and I have heard that a decision has been made to do this, and this is being controlled by the Vatican. Remember, it's named after Vatica, the goddess of darkness, the underworld, and it has been a source of parasitism on the planet. And basically what happens is they create money out of nothing, and then they suck it out of the people of the planet, who then suck it out of the resources of the planet. It's become like a negative black hole sucking the life force out of this planet. That's the big picture. And hopefully soon the new system will be life-based. But again, these processes take time, but big changes are happening. Now, the other thing, of course, that's happened is that the whole climate change group, who thought they had won after the war on terror people were defeated, are also now basically sucking wind. They have the big COP meeting in COP 29 meeting in Azerbaijan, and the president of Azerbaijan said, gas and oil is a gift from God, which is right. I mean, it puts carbon into the atmosphere, and despite the lie about carbon causing global warming, the fact is that the more carbon there is in the air, the more plants can thrive, and the more plants thrive, the more life thrives. So the whole meeting with like 80 heads of state asking for $1 trillion a year for global warming is going nowhere, and so they're going to all go home with their empty wallets. So that begathon is over. And finally, of course, we need to cut a deal with China and the Asian secret societies. The whole idea of the Trump regime starting a war with China is stupid. What they need to do is make sure that the relationship with China benefits the United States and China as well. Right now, it has not benefited the United States. Basically, money and factories have been sucked out of the United States, and the United States has been put in a debt trap. So we're still waiting to see if the Trump regime will make the next step and declare bankruptcy, which would end all the debts to China and everything else. So the Jubilee is necessary to reset everything, and that means a declaration that the current U.S. regime is bankrupt and it will be replaced by something new that doesn't have the debts of the previous ones. So we're still waiting for that. And of course, we're still waiting to see if the secret Space Force disclosure is really going to happen. Like I say, I've been contacted by these people, and they say Trump is part of Majestic 12, which is the group that was set up by President Dwight Eisenhower to study alien things. And they're claiming that they have 10,000 years of technological progress that they can make available within a decade. And I hope so. I'd love to be able to, go from Tokyo to Canada in 20 minutes in a flying saucer instead of 14 hours in an airplane. And remember, we went through a change like that before with airplanes, because before that, we were talking weeks and months on ships. So hopefully that sort of change is coming, but believe it when you see it. Nonetheless, it's clear the good guys are winning, and things are going to happen before January 20th. But keep alert. and prepare for nasty surprises because this is not over yet. Okay, well, that's what I have to say for myself today. Now I'd like to answer questions from readers and viewers.
Hi, Ben. We have our first question for today. Some time ago, you suggested that, among other defensive actions, we should stop paying mortgages. Can you please expand on this statement?
Well, it's basically what happens when you take out a mortgage is that a bank writes a debt slavery contract on you. They create money out of nothing. They just write in the number, and then for 20 years you pay your resources to the bank, and this is not something that should exist. We need to have a reset where everybody will have ownership of where they live, and they don't have to pay someone like a serf to live where they live, and that's going to have to be done. And personally, I have not been paying rent for over a year now, and I've been ignoring legal requests because I stand by what I say. I'm not just going to talk the talk and not walk the walk. And if everyone does this, it'll end the system. So, get together with a bunch of people and do it. It'll force their hand. It'll force them to make a jubilee. Okay, next question.
Hi, Ben. Your list of people leaving the country included Anthony Fauci. Do you know who might be playing this role in his place?
I don't know. I mean, I was told, again, I've told you before, this Asian secret society's told me that he committed suicide by stuffing toilet paper down his throat, and I don't think he's been appearing in public since then. But if they still have someone appearing on screens as Anthony Fauci, it means that the people who are behind that whole vaccine mass murder are still in some form of power. But I don't know if there is anybody playing their role now, and if so, who. But we can be pretty sure that the trail will lead to the owners of the Fortune 500 companies, which would be the Rockefellers and the usual suspects. So if they're still putting a Fauci on TV, it means they haven't been dealt with properly yet. Next question.
Hey, Ben, I've been wondering what happened to Rainer Fulmick. Has he been released?
I will make inquiries, but as far as I know, he still has not been released. But the fact that Trump is in power and JFK Jr. is now in charge of medical policy means that his release should be coming. But I will personally make inquiries and try to push for his release. Next question.
Hi, Ben. Can you address how you and your contacts justify/reconcile supporting Trump, considering Trump openly supports Israel and Zionism and swears allegiance to them? Isn't Israel committing genocide and terrorism in Gaza, Palestine, and the Middle East? Doesn't Israel have a rich history of international terrorism? And doesn't the leader of Israel represent the same Khazarian mafia that you criticize every week?
A lot of people have that sentiment, including me. The whole Israel aspect of the Trump regime is wrong, and the fact that he appointed Zionists who want to attack Iran into his government is a bad sign, and the rest of the world is not going to let that happen. Even if Trump is going to try to do whatever he can for Israel, I don't think the U.S. military wants to fight for them. I know they don't. And I know that Turkey and Russia and China are now calling for a boycott against Israel. So I don't think that no matter how much he wants to help Israel, at this point, it's not, the U.S. military does not have the ability to protect Israel. Israel did not have the ability to protect itself, and the entire planet is saying enough is enough. So even if Trump is trying to do that, he doesn't have the power. Okay, next question.
We have our last question for today, relating to the national debt. I understand that we, the people, paid interest to the Federal Reserve and other banking crooks in order to create our money supply. Since this fraud was perpetrated using legal trickery, why don't we just default on the interest payments, a one-time bankruptcy to wipe out the national debt and the crooks that created this fraudulent system?
Well, that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish. And I have heard from the head of MI6 that the decision has been made to shut down the Fed. And the fact that they created money out of nothing and then put the debt on the American people and the American government means that they're going to have to pay many, many trillions of dollars in compensation to the people they stole from. So that's what this whole idea of a jubilee is about. Is we don't want to punish genuine entrepreneurs who created wealth and value, but we do want to return the money that was stolen from the people through central bank fraud, and that process is underway. Okay, well, I think that's about it for this week. There should be a lot more to report next week, too, because things are starting to move at a very fast pace, and it's definitely clear the good guys are winning. But we must never underestimate these people.